So imagine, for a second, pushing a massive boulder up a mountain. And you do this for years.
Oh, yeah?
And every single time you get close to the top, it rolls all the way back down, over and over.
It's exhausting just thinking about it.
Exactly. But then, today, you finally push it over the peak. That's kind of the psychological mountain we're unpacking for you today in this deep dive.
Yeah, it really is a perfect analogy for this one.
Right, because we're looking at this monumental underdog story, the Ireland women's cricket team getting their first ever T20 World Cup victory. And this was against the West Indies in Bristol, which, was just this historic milestone.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The sheer weight of that history, it makes this one of the most fascinating underdog stories I think we've seen in recent memory.
Yeah.
And the baseline result itself, it really tells the story of this incredibly tense tactical thriller. I mean, Ireland actually managed to restrict a highly favored, incredibly powerful West Indies team to 128 for 7 in their innings.
Which is wild.
It is. And then carrying all those ghosts of past failures, Ireland just chased that target down. They finished at 129 for 4 to win by 6 wickets.
Okay, wait, before we get too deep into the mechanics of how they actually pulled this off, I want to make sure everyone listening is on the exact same page. Because, let's be honest, cricket terminology can sound like a totally different language if you're not already a fan.
Oh, for sure. It can be very dense.
Right. So when we talk about a T20 match, we're talking about 2020 cricket. And this is the shortest, the fastest, most explosive format of the game, right?
Exactly. Yeah, T20 is an absolute sprint compared to, say, the traditional 5-day test matches. Each team only gets 20 overs to bat.
And an over is what, 6 pitches?
Right, 6 legal deliveries or balls, ball by the bowler. So it's 120 balls total per team. That format entirely dictates the strategy. You just don't have time to be cautious. You have to score quickly.
Got it. And you mentioned the West Indies scored 128 for 7. So that means they scored 128 runs total, and 7 of their batters got out.
You got it. In cricket, getting a batter out is called taking a wicket. So when Ireland chased it down and won by 6 wickets, it means they hit the target of 129 runs while only losing 4 batters.
So they still had 6 outs or wickets left in the bank.
Exactly. 6 wickets in hand.
Which, it sounds like a pretty comfortable margin on paper.
Right, on paper.
But the context here just completely shatters that illusion. To really appreciate this win, you have to look at the immense psychological baggage the Irish team dragged out onto that pitch before the first ball was even bowled.
Oh, it was heavy.
I mean, the source material lays out this agonizing timeline. It took Ireland 22 attempts.
Yeah, 22.
Across 5 separate T20 World Cup tournaments just to finally win a single game.
Right.
I mean, 5 editions of a global tournament. You're flying around the world, doing all this prep, and coming home empty-handed every single time.
The cognitive load of carrying a 22-match lose-less streak is it's staggering. I mean, in sports psychology, there's actually a well-documented phenomenon of teams genuinely getting used to losing.
Really? Like they just accept it?
Yeah, it breeds this subtle fatalism. Like when an opponent hits a great shot or, scores early, the collective subconscious of the team defaults to, well, here we go again.
Wow.
The brain almost seeks the comfort of the expected outcome, even if that outcome is failure, because hoping for a win and having it snatched away at the last second hurts infinitely more than just expecting to lose.
And the Irish team knew exactly how much that hope could hurt. Right. Because they weren't just getting blown out every single time. They had suffered this brutal string of near misses.
Oh, the near misses are the worst.
And the most gut-wrenching one happened literally just a week prior to this match against the West Indies. Ireland played the reigning world champions, New Zealand, and they lost by 4 runs.
Just 4 runs.
Which, in a high-scoring cricket match, 4 runs is essentially a single swing of the bat. It's the slimmest margin you can have.
And that near miss against New Zealand created this massive ripple effect for the entire tournament. Because coming into this match in Bristol, the West Indies were highly motivated. A victory over Ireland would have guaranteed them a spot in the semifinals.
Oh, so they had a lot on the line, too.
Massive stakes. But Ireland's victory completely flipped the script. By playing spoiler, Ireland basically threw New Zealand right back into the semifinal running, which elevated the stakes massively for New Zealand's final group match against England.
Which is crazy. And the national context for Ireland was peaking that weekend, too. Because, according to the sources, this victory capped off a historically joyous day for Irish cricket.
Right. the men's team.
Exactly. Just the day before, in Belfast, the Irish men's team had defeated India in a T20 international, and that was their first time ever beating India in any format.
Just an electric weekend for the whole country.
Totally. So you have a country buzzing, a team that just lost by a single swing to the world champs, and an opponent desperate for a semifinal spot. But wait, I have to push back on the psychology of this for a second.
Sure, go for it.
You mentioned that fatalism earlier, that teams get used to losing. How does a team physically and mentally reset after 22 failures, plus a gut-wrenching near miss just days before, to suddenly play with the kind of belief you need to beat an elite side? Like, how do you just turn that around?
Well, you don't try to selectively erase your memory, because suppressing the trauma of a loss usually backfires. Instead, you have to change the narrative framing.
Okay, what does that mean?
So a 4-run loss to the reigning champions can either be categorized as, failure number 22, or it can be categorized as proof of concept.
Oh, I see.
Right. Elite athletes, they isolate the execution. They take the evidence from that New Zealand game, the fact that their bowling was highly accurate, that their batting partnerships held up, and they completely separate it from the final score.
So they focus entirely on the mechanics of the next delivery.
Exactly. They shrink the game down from 22 years of history to a single 22-yard pitch.
That's a great way to put it. And that mental discipline was put to the test the second they stepped onto the field. So let's move from that psychological backdrop into the physical execution. Let's look at how Ireland actually stopped an elite West Indies team in their tracks during that first innings.
Because stopping them is not easy.
No, defending against a motivated team is incredibly difficult. And the start of this match sounded honestly completely chaotic. The sources describe the West Indies as playing an all-or-nothing style of cricket here.
Yeah, they came out intent on absolute destruction. I mean, they were explosive but highly erratic. A perfect example is their opener, Kiana Joseph.
Right.
She was brought back into the starting lineup after missing the previous match against England. So she was clearly looking to make this immediate, violent impact. She faced a delivery from Ireland's Jane Maguire, and she smashed her third ball so fiercely that it literally burst right through Maguire's hands in the square leg position.
Ouch!
Yeah, burst through her hands and went straight to the boundary for 4 runs.
I mean, bursting through a fielder's hands, that is pure physical intimidation right out of the gate. And Joseph follows it up by hitting the very next ball through the mid-wicket area for a second boundary.
Fatal aggression.
But then that erratic nature you mentioned shows up because she attempts to end the over with this massive, full-blooded sweep shot, totally misjudges it, hits it off the top edge of her bat, and loops an easy catch straight to Leah Paul.
And that dismissal basically set this bizarre template for the entire West Indies top order.
Yeah, it was weird.
You have this procession of their biggest stars stepping up, looking incredibly dangerous for a few minutes, and then just completely failing to anchor the innings. Like Hayley Matthews came in and looked entirely comfortable.
Right, she scored 22 off 24 balls, hitting some beautiful shots.
Exactly. But then she attempts a sweep off the bowler, Cara Murray, and just hits a straightforward catch to Rebecca Stokel.
And then Shemaine Campbell comes in, hits a boundary, but follows it up by mishitting a ball so high into the air that Amy Hunter, the Irish fielder, actually had to run and take cover under it before securing the catch.
Yeah, just constantly getting starts and throwing them away. And we see the exact same thing with Stephanie Taylor coming in at number 4.
Yeah, she slices her very first ball for 4 runs. Immediate aggression.
But then she just stalls completely. She crawls to 16 runs off 26 balls before she gets impatient, skips down the track, and hits an Amy Maguire delivery straight to Orla Prendergast for another out.
So you've got this scorecard filled with players getting 15, 20 runs and then getting themselves out. Why does a lineup of elite power hitters all suddenly make the exact same mistake? Like, what's happening there?
Well, the answer lies entirely in the mechanics of Ireland's bowling strategy. The West Indies were sitting at 31 runs after just 3 overs, and crucially, 24 of those runs came strictly from boundaries.
They were just swinging for the fences.
Right? They wanted a high-speed shootout.
Yeah.
But Ireland simply refused to give it to them. Instead of throwing fastballs that the West Indies could easily redirect for power, Ireland deployed their spin bowlers. Leg spinner Cara Murray and left-arm spinner Amy Maguire. They essentially acted as a tactical wet blanket on the game.
I love that analogy. Let's explain for the listener why spin bowling is so effective against aggressive hitters. Like if I'm facing a pitcher throwing 100 miles an hour in baseball, I really just need to put my bat in the way, and the pace of the ball will send it flying.
Exactly.
But if a bowler takes all the pace off the ball and lobs this slow spinning delivery at me,
Yeah.
what happens?
You have to generate 100% of the power yourself.
Right.
And that completely disrupts the biomechanics of a power hitter. When a batter tries to swing as hard as humanly possible at a very slow ball, they lose their structural shape.
They get desperate.
Exactly. Their head pulls up, their timing gets totally thrown off, and instead of hitting the ball cleanly with the middle of the bat, they hit it with the edge. And that is exactly where you saw so many top edges, slice shots, and high pop-ups from the West Indies.
It makes perfect sense.
Kara Murray took 2 wickets while giving up only 13 runs in her 4 overs. Amy Maguire took 2 wickets for 22 runs. They literally starved the West Indies batters of the pace they needed.
And the frustration of that starvation is perfectly encapsulated by Deandra Daughton's innings because she is notoriously dangerous, right?
Yeah.
But the Irish spinners just tied her in knots.
Oh, completely.
She scored only 2 runs off her first 10 balls. She finally managed 1 boundary, getting to 21 runs off 28 deliveries before her patience just entirely snapped.
She couldn't take it anymore.
Exactly. She gets a full toss from Jane Maguire, basically a pitch that didn't even bounce, and hits it directly to a fielder. The sources even note it was so high it was almost called a no ball for dangerous height, but it was deemed lawful, and Daughton was out.
Yeah, that spin chokehold was relentless. Janelle Henry was actually the only West Indies batter to surpass 22 runs, finishing with 27.
So it sounds like the West Indies were trying to light an entire fireworks display all at once, but Ireland's spinners just threw that wet blanket over them, smothering every spark before it could turn into an explosion.
That's exactly what happened. Ireland managed to restrict a total powerhouse team to an incredibly low score of 128 for 7.
But, defending is really only half the battle. Stopping the opposition's fireworks is a huge tactical triumph, obviously, but now Ireland actually has to score 129 runs to win.
Right. The chase begins.
They have to step up to the crease knowing that their country has tried and failed to chase down turtles on this stage 22 separate times. The pressure of a run chase is a completely different mental game, isn't it?
Oh, it's brutal. The scoreboard is just staring at you, ticking down, constantly reminding you of what you need to achieve.
And when you're chasing a small total, like 129, there is this massive temptation to rush.
Yeah.
You just want to get the anxiety over with as quickly as possible, which leads to swinging wildly and making silly mistakes.
But Ireland actually started their chase with incredible discipline. During the power play, which, for the listener, are the first 6 overs of the innings where fielding restrictions make it easier to score boundaries, Ireland reached 37 for 1.
They did lose their captain, Gabby Lewis, very early though, right? For just 9 runs.
Yeah, they did. And for a team with their history, losing your captain immediately like that, it could easily trigger a full-blown panic.
It totally could have. But the mantle was immediately picked up by the second wicket partnership. Amy Hunter and Orla Prendergast stepped in and eventually combined for 62 runs off 53 balls.
Which is huge. But, I mean, that partnership did not start smoothly.
No, it didn't.
The source material points to this massive, match-defining turning point very early in the chase. Because in the opening 2 overs, Ireland was really struggling. They had only managed 8 runs and hadn't hit a single boundary.
The pressure was building.
Exactly. Amy Hunter was sitting on just 3 runs, feeling that pressure mount, and she decided to force the issue.
Right, so she attempts to smash a delivery from Hayley Matthews right over the mid-off fielder. But because she's forcing it, she doesn't get clean contact at all. The ball goes straight up and directly to the West Indies fielder, Janilia Glasgow.
It was an absolute gift of a catch.
A total gift. It should have been the second out for Ireland. But Glasgow drops it. The ball just hits the grass.
And in cricket, when you drop a batter and give them a second life like that, you almost invariably watch them punish you for it. It is one of those reliable psychological phenomena in the sport.
Let's dig into the psychology of that moment for the listener, actually, because when a player gets dropped early in an innings and then immediately starts swinging freely and hitting boundaries, which is exactly what Hunter does, is that just a sudden rush of adrenaline, or is there a specific psychological release happening there?
It's actually a really profound psychological release, and it's rooted in loss aversion.
Okay, unpack that.
So, before the dropped catch, Hunter is carrying the anxiety of the required run rate, right, and the fear of getting out. When she hits that ball up in the air, her brain instantly processes the worst-case scenario. She thinks, I've failed. I'm out.
She fully accepts the loss?
Exactly. But when the ball hits the ground, that fear is instantly wiped away. She's already survived the psychological death of her innings, so to speak. So from that moment on, she is playing with house money. The constraints of fear completely evaporate.
And she definitely makes the West Indies pay a massive tax for that dropped catch.
Oh, she makes them pay immediately.
The very next ball after surviving, Hunter steps down the pitch and smashes Matthews for 4 runs. And as if that wasn't enough to prove the fear was gone, the delivery right after that, she drives Matthews over a fielding area affectionately known as Cow Corner for a massive 6 runs, 2 boundaries and 2 balls.
And cow corner is just the perfect area for a batter playing with house money.
What exactly is Cow Corner?
It's that deep mid-wicket boundary area where a batter basically just plants their feet and heaves the bat with pure agricultural power.
Like swinging a scythe.
Exactly. Hitting 2 boundaries and 2 balls immediately after being dropped. It completely shifted the momentum of the entire run chase. Hunter eventually scored 28 runs before she was finally caught out.
But by the time she left the field, Ireland was sitting at a very healthy 88 for 1. The math had completely swung in their favor. They only needed 40 runs from the remaining 42 balls.
Which means they needed less than 1 run per ball. That is a highly manageable target.
But manageable math means absolutely nothing if your nerves shatter at the last minute.
Right.
Hunter provided the aggressive momentum, but someone had to actually steer the ship into port, a port this Irish team had never successfully docked in before. Which brings us to Section 4. Orla Prendergast, who just puts on an absolute masterclass in performing under pressure.
Yeah, Prendergast's role here as the anchor is deeply tied back to that heartbreaking loss to New Zealand the week prior.
Yep.
In that game, Prendergast had played beautifully, scoring a half-century. So she experienced firsthand how quickly a strong, dominant position could disintegrate into a historic collapse.
She knew the warning signs.
Exactly. She stepped up against the West Indies, acutely aware that if she got out, the rest of the batting lineup could easily fold under the pressure.
Her innings here feels like she was defusing a bomb.
That's a great way to put it.
Because in a tense run chase, the bowler is essentially throwing tripwires at you. They bowl these wide spinning deliveries that look incredibly tempting to smash for a boundary, but they carry a massive risk of popping up for a catch.
And cutting the wrong wire means giving in to your ego, swinging wildly and getting out.
Exactly. Prendergast had to patiently let the dangerous pitches go, taking the safe single runs and just ignoring the adrenaline screaming at her to finish the game quickly. She knew from the New Zealand game exactly which wires not to cut.
And she was surgically precise about it. When her partner Hunter got out, Prendergast was sitting on 46 runs off 35 balls. The loss of her partner didn't cause her to flinch at all. On the very next delivery she faced, she scored the runs needed to secure her half-century.
Wow.
Yeah. It was her second 50 of the tournament, which just proved her consistency. She displayed brilliant technique, specifically her back foot play, where she waits just an extra fraction of a second for the ball to reach her before striking it. She hit this beautiful shot between 2 fielders for her 7th boundary of the match off Ashmini Munisar.
But, diffusing a bomb in front of a global audience rarely happens without a few heart-stopping moments.
Oh, there was a major scare.
Yeah, shortly after hitting that boundary, the umpire actually raised his finger and gave Prendergast out.
The tension must have been unbelievable.
The West Indies bowler, a Fife Fletcher, appealed for a caught behind, basically claiming Prendergast had faintly edged the ball to the wicketkeeper down the leg side.
You can just imagine the collective gasp from every Irish fan in that stadium. I mean, to be given out by the umpire at the climax of the most important run chase in your nation's history. It's terrifying.
But Prendergast didn't panic. She immediately used the review system, asking the video umpire to check the footage.
And thank God for technology, right? Because the replay showed her bat had hit the ground, not the ball.
So the decision was overturned. She survived. She just kept identifying the right wires to cut, pushing the West Indies right to the absolute brink of defeat.
She maintained that agonizing focus until she was almost at the very end. Finally, she takes one calculated risk too many, attempts to knock the ball over the mid-wicket boundary, doesn't get quite enough elevation, and is caught on the rope by Deandra Dott.
But she exits the field having scored 63 incredible runs. And her dismissal leaves Ireland needing only 21 runs off 28 balls to win.
And even though the math says 21 runs off 28 balls should be a walk in the park, the source material notes that her dismissal caused severe anxiety in the Irish dugout.
I bet.
The finish line was visible, but they still had to physically cross it. The weight of those 22 pass matches was just staring the new batters right in the face. The tension persisted for every single remaining delivery.
It was left to the incoming batters, Louise Little and Rebecca Stokel, to officially bring it home. And they held their nerve. They chipped away at the remaining runs, rotating the strike, refusing to do anything reckless until they finally hit the winning runs.
After a decade of failure, they secured the victory with 6 wickets in hand. Just an incredible moment.
So for anyone listening, the real value of this deep dive goes far beyond the scorecard of a cricket match.
Right, it's not just about cricket stats.
No, it is a blueprint for resilience and tactical discipline. It demonstrates how to neutralize a highly aggressive opponent by sticking to your strategy, like starving them of the pace they want and letting their own impatience defeat them.
And it highlights the absolute necessity of capitalizing instantly. When life hands you a dropped catch or a stroke of luck, you can't hesitate.
And above all, it proves that you can conquer the mental demons of past failures if you can just isolate your execution in the present moment. You don't let the ghost of yesterday's near miss dictate today's swing of the bat.
Exactly. Ireland took the trauma of that New Zealand loss and they weaponized it. Prendergast used that memory not as a source of fear, but as a roadmap of exact mistakes to avoid. That is the fundamental difference between extending a losing streak and orchestrating a historic breakthrough.
It really is. So you spend years trying to break through a glass ceiling, carrying the weight of a dozen failures, and like the Irish team in Bristol, you finally shatter it. The curse is broken. The impossible is achieved. But here's something for you to think about. Once you achieve the impossible and you pour every ounce of your physical and emotional soul into breaking a 22-match curse, how do you wake up the very next morning and find the motivation to play just a regular game?